I'd also like to acknowledge the workforce who staffed our testing clinics over the last few days, especially given the extreme summer heat. I'd also like to thank our many police officers, health and other workers who've given up their festive season to steer us through the past couple of days, including with their contact tracing efforts. And thank you too to every Western Australian who has done what we have asked for and worn masks in indoor public venues. The extreme heat has meant at times it has been unpleasant, but is based on health advice. It is about safety and stopping any potential spread of the virus. And it has been very encouraging to see so many of you do the right thing to keep each other safe. As I said on Christmas Eve, yet again, the response from Western Australians has been world-class, and the past couple of days have been no different. So again, thank you to everyone in the community for listening to the health advice and following the directions. I'd also like to thank the 4,737 West Australians who did the right thing and came forward yesterday to get tested, in very difficult circumstances across public and private clinics. Over the last 4 days, more than 29,000 people have been tested, which is a good number, but it could be better. So we need to keep it up over coming days. So if you've been to an exposure site or if you're developing symptoms, please go and get tested right away and then isolate until you receive your result. It's still hot out there, so bring a hat, water, sunscreen, and even an umbrella. We cannot afford to miss a single case. This morning we held an emergency management team meeting to discuss the potential risks associated with the recent positive cases in our community, with the most recent data to hand. Firstly, I can advise there has been one new local COVID case to 10 a.m. this morning. A woman in her 20s, a close contact of case 1133, who has been in hotel quarantine since the 23rd of December and has been in quarantine for all of her infectious period. This is good news and another encouraging result from this Delta outbreak. As of this morning, 608 close contacts have been identified, 86% have been tested so far, with 86 yet to be tested. Of the 86 yet to be tested, 39 were patrons from the mess hall event. This is something that is worrying, as we cannot be 100% sure that the Delta virus is not lingering in the community somewhere. WA Police are doing everything they can to track these people down and make sure they get tested and isolate. In addition, 1,089 casual contacts have been identified. 70% have been tested so far, with 322 yet to be tested. If you've been identified as a close or casual contact, or if you know you've been to an exposure site, especially the Perth mess hall event, we need you to come forward immediately. We need you to do the right thing and get tested now. Late last week, I announced public health and safety measures to limit potential community spread of the virus until testing could give us a clearer picture of the evolving threat from the backpacker outbreak. Large music festivals and other high-risk events were cancelled. Masks are required at indoor public venues, and only seated consumption is permitted at licensed venues. These rules were based on health advice and to minimise potential spread of the virus in high-risk public settings. The results have been incredible. Given the high-risk nature of some of the exposure sites, we're expecting to see large numbers of positive cases. But so far, we have limited the spread and now are in reach of possibly being able to kill off this outbreak. That's thanks to our swift response and the work of every Western Australian for being vaccinated, masking up, getting tested and following the public health rules. However, based on the number of close contacts associated with the recent outbreak, who are still waiting on test results, and the concerning nature of the outbreak amongst the Perth backpacker community, we are not out of the woods just yet. As a result, the current rules will be extended until 6 a.m. Tuesday, January 4. This gives us the best chance to potentially eliminate this outbreak in our community and ensure we can continue to have a relatively normal and safe holiday period. And if successful, gives us the best chance to return to our unique, restriction-free life come January the 4th. This will mean that some New Year's celebrations will look different. But for most West Australians, we'll be able to safely bring in the new year with our friends and family. For some of the larger outdoor public events like community fireworks across our suburbs, we are continuing to recommend that people wear masks when they cannot physically distance. In addition, we will mandate mask wearing at the Perth Cup at Ascot on New Year's Day. We've worked with Perth Racing this morning to ensure the Perth Cup can proceed as safely as possible. This will include, for the first time, a proof of vaccination requirement for all patrons at the event. There are a few ways attendees can show proof of their vaccination in both digital or paper-based form, along with their proof of ID. There is more information online at wa.gov.au on how to do this. Understandably, this is the first time we will be doing this, so it might not be perfect, but it's the best way to guarantee a safe event. I want to thank Perth Racing for their willingness to trial this new requirement and do it so quickly. WA's new proof of vaccination app will be available later in January, which will provide a more secure and efficient way of showing your vaccination proof. Of course, the same rules everywhere else will apply to the Perth Cup as well, including seated consumption only and mask wearing. I acknowledge the extension of these public health measures will be disappointing for some, given we are heading into New Year's. But we haven't made this decision lightly. The rules are reasonable and mean thousands of Western Australians will still be able to enjoy New Year's Eve celebrations with family and friends, but they will be able to celebrate safely. That is important. And today's announcement will provide clarity and certainty for hospitality businesses and workers who are preparing their plans for New Year's Eve. We are also now developing a financial assistance package for affected businesses over this particular period. This will be developed and will be targeted, and more information will be released when it's ready. I want to repeat, New Year's Eve celebrations have not been cancelled. You can still enjoy counting in the new year with family and friends, but we are ensuring it is done as safely as possible. As we have done since the start of the pandemic, we have acted on the latest health advice, and we need to keep doing what we can to stop this virus spreading through our community. So far, the vast majority of the community has been fantastic and allowed us to have as safe a Christmas as possible. And I want to offer my sincere thanks. But there's two things we need Western Australians to do. First, please keep checking the exposure sites as they're put up online on Healthy WA and on wa.gov.au. They are frequently updated as our contact tracers keep working and interviewing people to get the latest information. As we go forward, in addition to checking in on the Safe WA app, everyone should get in the habit of regularly checking the exposure sites online, at least once a day. Secondly, get vaccinated to protect yourself and your family, your community, to ensure outbreaks are kept under control and restrictions kept to a minimum. And increasingly, for the Perth Cup and under our Safe Transition Plan, to lead a normal life, to work in key industries, to attend major events, to attend nightclubs and to travel interstate. So please, get vaccinated now. This includes children aged 5 to 11, whose parents can now book an appointment. I want to remind West Australians that ATAGI has announced changes to increase eligibility for people to get their third doses. From January 4, the interval between the second and third dose will be reduced from 5 months to 4 months. That interval will be reduced further on January 31 to 3 months. Our clinics, GPs and pharmacies are all open to get your doses, whether first, second or third. It's the most important thing you can do for your fellow West Australians.